Hello, welcome to Thor Talk, the show all about Marvel's resident God of Thunder. On this episode of Thor Talk, we'll take a look at the second issue of Donny Cates' run on Thor, as Thor, the Cosmic God King, battles Galactus on Thor Talk.
I am Thor the Thunderer, son of Odin, prince of Asgard, and this world is under my protection.
Thor number 2 was written by Donny Cates and was published in January of 2020. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the Asgardian god Charles Smith from the Thor Talk Patreon for his service. Now, let's begin. The Black Winter is coming. What did the people of this universe do when the end came? They did what everyone does. They screamed prayers to their gods. And their gods arrived. A sun god, a god of emerald light, a god of dark perhaps, a god of the ocean, of strength, of speed. This universe, like so many before it, is protected by a league of gods. All of them united will not be enough, for they too will look into the eyes of the Black Winter, and they will see the stone-faced avatar of their one true end. And there, staring at the encroaching dark, these mighty heroes will do what everyone before them has done. They will cry and scream and pray for their gods to save them. And then, as with everything, they will die. And yet, a universe away, there is Thor. The God King of Asgard and Thunder, the burning herald of Galactus. And to all this, the Herald King says, nay. There are 5 planets in the universe that if Galactus consumes, he will be granted unimaginable power. And with this power, he may yet stand against the Black Winter. Thor and Galactus arrive at one of these planets, but the first planet is inhabited, and so Thor will not allow Galactus to feed. Galactus reminds Thor that he is the only thing that stands between the universe and the Black Winter. I stand between you and this planet. You are weak, hungry. Would you like to see which of us would fall first? For reasons Thor does not yet know, Mjolnir has grown heavier by the day since he ascended the golden throne of Asgard. But here, amid the acidic winds of a doomed planet, Mjolnir is a dragon on the wind. You dare strike Galactus! You exist solely by the grace I have given, and the leash you tug against. Or have you forgotten whom you serve, little god? Nay, Asgard. I will tell you this once, Galactus. Though you named me herald in title and power, I remain a king and a god. But then, the Cosmic God King is struck from behind. The inhabitants of this world have never had gods, so when they see a being of angelic light and a great black leviathan raging in their heavens, they do not think of salvation, but of ruin. And so they swarm the Thunder God, and he cannot save them if he has to kill them. But now, as he is assailed by those he is trying to save, Galactus begins to consume the planet. Thinking quickly, Thor calls out to the all-seeing Lady Sif, who in turn summons the Bifrost and sends it to that world, transporting an entire race to Asgard. Thor promises the people sanctuary on Asgard until he can restore their planet. But such a day may never come, for Galactus does not just feed on the planet, he kills it. There's nothing left to restore. Thor is outraged, but Galactus calls it a necessity, and now he prepares to use his newfound power to at last exert his will over the Thunder King. But he's hit from behind with a barrage of explosions, and Thor is hit with a surprise attack from an Uru hammer. A hammer that returns to the hand of its master, Beta Ray Bill, and he would have words with them. So that's the end of issue number 2, and I think it was pretty solid. It wasn't quite at the heights of the first issue, but I really like the direction that Cates is going towards. Thor and Galactus have a really interesting dynamic. Unlike most heralds, Thor will not submit to Galactus at all. He's the king of the gods, and he sees himself as nothing less than an equal. Galactus is visibly frustrated with his new herald. He tries to establish his dominance over Thor pretty early on in their relationship, and it doesn't go all that well for the weakened Devourer. The moment that he gets a power boost from consuming the planet, the first thing he does is go to make Thor submit. They clearly aren't all that pleased with their current situation, but despite all this, they do need each other. Thor needs Galactus to face the Black Winter, and Galactus needs the planets that Thor knows about in order to have a chance against the Black Winter. Also, I'm glad that Sif got something to do in this story. I loved the clear references to the DC universe with the Black Winter stopping a version of the Justice League, And finally, I'd like to give major props to Nick Klein, the artist of this book, who is just doing an amazing job. Great job, Mr. Klein. Next, it's issue 3 with Beta Ray Bill. Well, that's all for this episode of Thor Talk. If you want to keep up with and support Thor Talk, you can do so by simply subscribing. Once again, I'd like to formally state that all art and video is owned by its respected companies and I own none of it. With that said, see you next time on Thor Talk, where...
You behold